Hey everyone, welcome back to Sylvia. And oh my, the last 18 to 24 hours have been absolutely insane because late last night, the the ransomware leak into Sony Insomniac games, they kept to their word and they leaked everything. Whether it's gaming leaks, like their entire roadmap got leaked, which is pretty insane. And if you're a Marvel fan, you're going to be very, very happy about it. But if you're hoping like for something other than Marvel, mostly outside of Ratchet, you're going to be pretty disappointed as new IP isn't until we'll get to that later. And after we get into all the information, like there's many more than just games. Like it talks about these leaks talk about like so much. So let's get right into it. We are going to start with something about their lineup. So far, we got Marvel's Venom in fall 2025. So actually doing a Venom game as they were kind of teasing right around the time that Spider-Man 2 was releasing. Then after that, we got Marvel's Wolverine in fall 2026. It's definitely way out than I thought it would. I was thinking 2025, which is when Venom was coming out, but nope, it's actually not the case. Then 2 years later, we got Marvel's Spider-Man 3 in fall 2028. There's rumors about them splitting the game into like three parts, apparently, where it would have like two parts and then a multiplayer component. I don't know how truthful that is. Like people seem pretty split on that. I don't know if that's true or not. But then again, who kind of knows? But then we got a new Ratchet and Clank game the following year in fall 2029. Then we got Marvel's X-Men in fall 2030. So seemingly Sony has acquired the exclusivity rights to the X-Men franchise, which makes sense as they are working on Wolverine. And then a brand new IP in 2031/2032. Now, there is something there. If you notice that these are all single player projects, seemingly. Apparently, the X-Men game is like a live service. This seems to be in favor, over what was originally pitched as called Spider-Man: The Great Web, which is a multiplayer AAA premium game where apparently it's supposed to be like Spider-Man meets GTA Online, which would have been freaking amazing. Because apparently that got canceled, and apparently Marvel's X-Men will be day and date on PlayStation 5 and PC. So if it's not a live service, then I guess that will be the change, where Sony finally does day and date with PC for their single player projects. But who honestly knows about that one? Now, there's an entire roadmap. Like this, all of this is legitimate. All of it. All of it, it really is. Now, there is an overview for the Venom project. It's a smaller game, much like Miles Morales in 2020. So it's going to be called Venom Lethal Protector. It's an all new storyline that continues Spider-Man 2 and leads you to Spider-Man 3. I know the story for Spider-Man 2. I'm not really going to talk about it much, but it's pretty relevant. If you've played Spider-Man 2, you kind of would know where this is going. You play as Venom, and you can switch between Venom and the Spidey heroes. So seemingly, Venom is going to be working with both Peter and Miles, unless Silk replaces Peter. Ooh, if you know the post-credit scene, you kind of already know. And seemingly, it's going to be a continuation of a side story in Spider-Man 2 where Carnage was first teased. I guess this is continuing that, where Carnage is going to be infecting New York, much like how I'm not going to go into spoilers, so I'm going to move past that. It's an 8 to 10 hour standalone game. Golden Path, 12 main missions and 3 event bosses. Optional content include quests, challenges, bases, crimes, and collectibles. So, if you're a Venom fan like I am, you should be very, very happy about this. Again, now that's not the only thing. Now, Marvel's X-Men, there's something very interesting about that. Platforms: PlayStation Console and PC. Commitments: 621 million comprised of 120 million development commitment for each required title, another 120 million in the aggregate for a provisional fourth title, so there could be more than this. So seemingly it's a third trilogy. 30 million marketing commitment for each required game, another 15 million for in aggregate for a provisional fourth game, and 9 million recoverable advancement for each required title, and then another 9 million for again fourth title. Release all games by 2035. Sell all games throughout at least 2038 and later if Marvel allows us to continue. Now here comes the interesting part, the exclusivity. Between now and December 31st, Marvel 2035, Marvel cannot release or announce any X-Men games on console slash PC slash streaming or use or an X-Men character as a competitive advantage in a game. For example, play as Wolverine Ultimate Alliance exclusively on Xbox. That's a hypothetical example. That'd be kind of wild if, say, Microsoft does like a Ultimate Alliance for it. That'd be kind of weird. It would go from multiplayer to Switch for the third one, then Xbox for the fourth one. Hypothetically, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Now then, X-Men characters can appear in multi-family Marvel games, for example, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Marvel retains the rights to the children games and certain X-Men games in the 90s, but they cannot release or announce these within 45 days before or after the release or announcement of any of our games. Marvel royalty. Digital games 9 to 18% of net sales. Physical 19 to 26% of net sales. So Marvel actually gets more of a cut on physical copies of the games. Now for DLC, same thing as the physical. So 19 is 26%. Hardware bundles. Now this is very interesting. 35 to 50% of the wholesale bundle price, calculated as follows: the number of units, a wholesale price slash X applicable royalty rate for a bundle, applicable royalty rate for a game. This explains so much why we're already seeing bundles for Spider-Man 2 with PlayStation consoles. This explains so much because the original was like that for the PS4 because Marvel's royalty is like so freaking much. It's costing Sony so much money, man. Like that license, man, it's fucking costing. Now it makes me wonder what the shares between Marvel and Microsoft for Blade. That's gonna be very interesting. Or how remember how Nintendo had Ultimate Alliance 3 only for the Switch back in 2019. Kind of wild. Now the termination, though. This is I'd say the most damning part. Very interesting here. Neither party has the right to terminate the agreement for convenience. However, if we do not sell at least 6 million copies on PlayStation 5 and PC combined of one of the three mentioned titles for any X-Men game in this entire deal. I assume this could be for the Spider-Man deal too, because it probably is considering again all Marvel IP here. Either party may terminate the agreement. If we terminate, we must pay Marvel a 9 million breakup fee, plus all unpaid portions of all guarantees. If Marvel terminates, the fees are waived. The result is that we will not develop any further titles on the agreement, but we can continue to sell all titles released before termination. Damn, that is a lot of information right there, especially the termination part. That's kind of insane. So if Sony terminates, they have to pay a fee, but if Marvel does it, they don't. The fees are waived. But seemingly, wow, I did not realize that the Marvel license is so expensive. That's kind of crazy. Now it kind of makes you wonder how much Square Enix was paying for that. Not to mention what Microsoft was paying for Blade, because I assume that could include, like Game Pass stuff, because Blade most likely will be going to Game Pass, especially if it's exclusive, among other things. But damn, that's kind of insane. Like, holy crap, man. But again, these X-Men games are day and day on PC, so I guess we'll see what happens in the near future. But again, 2030, that's the beginning of it, so it's probably a PlayStation 6 game. It could be cross-gen, just depends on when the PS6 actually releases. Because apparently it's like 2028, somewhere around that time. And apparently, I bet you Spider-Man 3 is going to be a launch title for that game, from what it seems like, just based on the timing. But now, now for Wolverine, though, itself, there was a lot of gameplay leaks. Again, this is all pre-alpha, so take that what you will if you see any. So the amount of people saying that it looks bad, like bro, it's pre-alpha. Did y'all learn anything from the freaking GTS 6 shit that happened earlier this year or late last year? Which one of the two it was? Like, come on, bro. It's pre-alpha. It's not gonna look way. It's gonna look way better when the final game releases. Come on. But based on some footage I've seen, Wolverine still looks pretty darn good. You know, if you've seen the gameplay, it looks like like God of War, that kind of thing with Sony's template, but it's still going to be a really good game in my opinion. So apparently Wolverine. I'm not going to go into spoiler or anything, so you're not going to say anything. But if you want to see links, I'll provide a Reddit post that has everything. So if you want to look at it for yourself, there you go. You can. So if you're really interested in that, I'll drop a link so you can read it for yourself. Now, this more business side of things, because there was even some sales about like where Sony's PC sells, and guess which game sold the most on PC in terms of ports, and it's not Spider-Man, to my shock. Guess what it is? It was the first game that sold the most, which was Horizon Zero Dawn. That sold like over 3 million copies. So that opened the door for all these PC ports. So if I was Sony, man, I would I wouldn't be surprised if Sony Day and Day PC ports happened way sooner than people think now because of this. Because Spider-Man only sold like 1.3 million just based on some of these documents that I've seen. It's kind of insane. Now, the business side of things, though, oh boy. And people say that, Sony always copies Microsoft. They really are. Sony themselves even admitted that their quote unquote pillars are outdated. Like, it's true. they're solely relying on the console sales, and if console sales die up, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna really do? Anyway, there's two slides here. Like there was some miscommunication about whether these slides were real or not. Because initially people were saying, "Oh, it's fake," but that could have been code from the fanboys. But no, it was actually legitimate. So let's read the slides then, shall we? This is the first. This is the first one, which is kind of talk about the industry as a whole. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard positions to leapfrog our current ones. Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games, scale mobile and PC storefront, Battle.net. In addition, Microsoft is building a mobile game store to compete with Apple and Google. I mean, considering that Sony maybe wants to do mobile stuff themselves, it kind of makes sense why they would care about Microsoft doing that. But it's still though, it kind of just shows that they know. I didn't realize just how bad the Activision acquisition really hurt Sony. I now it makes complete sense why they're fighting it so hard for as long as they were. It just makes complete sense. I didn't realize that it was this bad. Like, you never really know. Now, for the other part of them, this one's even more detailed. This one's about major shifts and threats. The cloud threat in 2027. Microsoft acquisition of Activision for 69 billion could show the industry, console gaming, and game subscription markets absolutely. Consoles shift from PlayStation and Xbox with timing and in-game differential as the weapons, even though Microsoft already promised in court, live on court, that they are not going to do that. They've said that time and time again, each release of COD is going to be parity across all versions of the game. Subscription. Microsoft's comprehensive ecosystem cover with exclusivity creates greater dominance. I mean, again, like Game Pass is it's the Netflix of gaming in most cases, which is how insane value it is, especially for the console part of it. The PC part of Game Pass is getting better. It actually is. Now, for Sony Impact, massive impact for PlayStation Plus, upwards of 1.5 billion of annual revenue threat, gap to fill 45 million subs plus times 12 monthly in 12 months, 20% monthly per third party. Again, now you see why. Now you see people why they're trying to get into live services so bad. Like there's been confusion about whenever the Spider-Man live service is canceled. It seemingly it could be in shape of like an X-Men live service game, and that sucks though because based on the things I've seen for the Spider-Man live service, man, it sounds so peak. It sounded pretty awesome. So I hope somehow it kind of happens again. Who the heck knows? I kind of hope they revisit the idea because it's so freaking cool from what I've seen of it. It was so awesome. Anyway, day-to-day threat. Post-acquisition, Microsoft put Activision games on Game Pass day and date. Da 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 da. That's what the whole point, because as Microsoft's done with every single game, and you see why Sony was so scared because they know they can't compete value-wise with Game Pass. They know it. They know they cannot because they don't want to put their first-party games on a subscription service because they still think it's sustainable. Unsustainable, even though Microsoft has said time and time again that they've done the numbers. They know what they're doing. Anyway, Leapfrog. Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games, scale on mobile and PC storefront. Found it. Microsoft can supply multi-game subscription, 50% for console games, 50% console games, and PC 60%. Sony pros are already dated and behind the competition. Yes, they are. Sony Impact. They need to expand. Absolutely. That's why they're trying to get into PC and mobile because they know that their value, that there's what they've been doing for so long is outdated. They know it. They fully realize that. And whether people like it or not, that's just kind of where the industry is going as a whole. When there's more platforms, obviously Nintendo will be last, but that's a whole nother discussion though for another day. Elusive perfect game subscription, premium content, expectation of free best-in-class can create unsustainable model. That's what I was referring to earlier. Monthly incremental subs will not cover the investment. Unified mobile PC console experience does not exist. Form factor and computer power are too diverse. Sony Impact, premium sales model is a central approach. Again, they're kind of following that whole model they've been following on for so long. But at some point, with how like more expensive like gaming budgets are, interesting fact though, Spider-Man 2's budget is out of control. Like 315 million for that game. That's kind of crazy. That's more than Starfield was. But I know some people are thinking, oh, Sony uses like motion capture and all that. Well, Bethesda's facial animation are still because of their engine, which is the creation engine. But that's kind of insane though for that game. Like it just kind of shows that the budget for AAA gaming is out of control. It really freaking is. Where the hell did all that budget go, if you ask me, man? Spider-Man 2 looks great. I will be first to say it because I've said it since day one from when they first revealed the game. But but it's insane how massive that budget was. Now the whole unified mobile PC and console experience, it doesn't exist. Yeah, it does. Microsoft's ecosystem is great. Console, Xbox, PC, mobile with xCloud, so they can do it. So Microsoft is way ahead of Sony. They admit themselves with this whole strategy, and that's why Sony's trying to copy it. So whether you fanboys like it or not, day and day is going to happen one way or another. I guarantee it. They've already said it's going to happen with their live service games, and you really think it's not going to happen with their single player games? I've got a bridge to sell you. It will happen one way or another. I would not be surprised if it happens by the time the PlayStation 6 releases. You're all going to have to deal with it because it is going to happen. I guarantee it. It's gonna happen. When? We'll see though. My predictions with the PS6, but who the heck knows? But I know. Okay, now this regarding the whole Spider-Man Great Web, there were some things that were calling it because there was these slides. I can't show it for obvious reasons, but damn, it sounds pretty awesome though. Like where you can actually like customize Peter's face and all that. Yo, like make your own Spider-Man. Oh, that would have been so awesome, man, to see. It would have been so awesome. God. But anyway, some of the things they were trying to do with it, some ideas they had for it was villain schemes, great web raids, and was some like there was concept art for it, where one of it was like this a symbiote version of Sandman. Because remember, folks, that was actually cut from Spider-Man 2. So it seemed that they were going to use it for their live service game as a raid. Oh my gosh, that would have been so freaking amazing. They also got turf battles and skill challenges. And apparently those things are possibly like battle passes and seasons too. So there was like a full on live service plan for this game called Spider-Man the Great Web. Damn, that sounded hype to me, man. Like that would have been a day one play for me if that actually came to fruition. Now, it's seemingly like there's this whole thing about where Sunset Overdrive only made like barely $600 in profit. I mean, when you think about the situation behind where that game was, it makes sense because people were bashing the Xbox One left to right. Hell, I almost switched to the PlayStation 4 during that generation, man. I almost was. Like it's insane, you know. That's all I can say on that one. So it kind of makes sense. Now there was some confusion about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart making a profit or not, because rumors were saying that it wasn't. But that was like from 2020, where Sony expected it to not make a profit, but as it turns out, it actually doubled its budget. So apparently that game actually made a profit. So I'm not gonna, say anything more than that. That's just kind of what I've seen from it. Now, I'm going to go on a little tangent with all the information out of the way. I am not going to be talking about anything because there was employee information that got leaked, and I send my sympathy to people who were affected by that. Now, here's the thing though. Y'all remember that Microsoft, Capcom leaks and all that? But you notice how the media was all over that shit? But these goddamn same people. Again, this is a little tangent, so if my channel ever gets monetized, this video will not be because I'm about to go on a little right here, and it kind of pisses me off because it is so fucking hypocritical how these same motherfuckers we're all over that shit, covering it every single outlet, journalist, influencer. But yet they want to stay here and fucking say that it's unethical to cover this one. Why? Because it's fucking Sony. Come on now. The Capcom leaks had employee information leaked. Y'all were all over that shit like nothing. But y'all don't want to cover the Insomniac one? Why? Is it because Sony won't send you review codes anymore? Is that really why? Or special benefits? Get the fuck out of here. If you're gonna actually be a journalist and actually not have a fucking bias, do your fucking job. That that is so. I am so tired of the double standard in the gaming industry. I am so fucking tired. It, it blows my fucking mind. And you motherfuckers wonder why people say there's a media bias towards Sony because there is a double standard. There absolutely is. It is such bullshit. I'm calling that shit out. And if people want to get pissed at me for it, you can kiss my ass because I'm gonna keep it real. It's such nonsense. Get the hell out of here with that bullshit. If you're gonna actually cover all leaks, you better cover all of it and not have a double standard. Because as journalists, you're supposed to do your job and be and actually not have a bias. It's such bullshit. I'm looking at you, Greg Miller. I'm looking at you. You know damn well if there was Microsoft right now, you would be all over that shit. Especially as you did with GTA 6 and freaking the Rocksteady leak that just happened. You all know damn well. If it wasn't for this being a Sony studio, you all be over that, and you know it. Okay, I got that out of my system. But regarding the leaks themselves, regarding the games and all that, I'm pretty excited as a Marvel fan. And samely, obviously, as a PC guy, man, PC guys ain't good, man, with all these good games coming from both Microsoft and Sony, man. Like I'm excited for Wolverine. I'm gonna be all over that. And are you kidding me? A freaking Venom game? Hell yes. Give me that. Inject that shit into my veins. That's gonna be freaking awesome. Now it's gonna be interesting to see how they advance that because if you know the events of Spider-Man 2, you kind of know what happens. But yeah, I'm done. So little rant over, but yeah, about the whole double standard nonsense. It's sus, like I would have said before. But yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of here. So what do you guys think of this huge league? It's pretty interesting to see kind of all these things going on with Sonic and Sony. And Sony, I gotta be real with you. Y'all need to up your security, man, because this just keeps happening. Like the infamous leak in like 2011, where PSN was offline for a whole entire month. Like, jeez, and there was another leak that happened back in like September or something like that, where Sony got hacked again. Like this is pretty nuts. And yeah, that's all I gotta say on it. But yeah, Sony, you need to up your security for the sake of your employees' personal lives, man. And for those who actually got their information out there, I feel sorry for you and hope you all doing okay, especially right before the holidays, man. What an absolute mess this whole situation is. But yeah, I'm done. Like I said before, but yeah. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me down in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.